And Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas facing a lot of tough criticism over the administration's apparent lack of an immigration plan to handle the surge of hundreds of thousands of people entering the country illegally. He responded during testimony on the Hill this week.
We will continue to enforce our immigration laws. After Title 42 is lifted, non-citizens will be processed pursuant to Title 8, which provides that individuals who cross the border without legal authorization are processed for removal and, if unable to establish a legal basis to remain in the United States, promptly removed from the country.
We are joined right now by Texas Congressman Pat Fallon, a Republican and a member of the House Armed Services Committee. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for being with us. What, first of all, can we expect between today's meeting between President Biden and Mexico's president?
Well, Adrienne, thanks for having me on. Hopefully we find solutions. I think this meeting is a long time coming. President Biden has been in office now for 16 plus months. And this meeting should have been one of the first he had. Unfortunately, he hasn't. And with Secretary Mayorkas on the Hill yesterday, I find it startling, in that clip that he said he was going to continue to enforce immigration laws. Well, unfortunately, Homeland Security hasn't begun to enforce immigration laws. President Trump had the migrant protection protocols, which said if you cross the border illegally and claim asylum, you'll wait in Mexico while your claim is adjudicated. That policy worked. Unfortunately, in March, 221,000 illegal border crossers. That's 542% worse than the last March where President Biden wasn't in office. So Mayorkas has really fumbled the ball here. And now you're seeing bipartisan calls for actual border enforcement.
And we are seeing that from Democratic mayors in border towns all along the Texas-Mexico line and people in other states, frankly, who are Democratic and saying, listen, we have to do something in light of the fact that you want to lift Title 42. There is no other way to deter this migrant surge. What was your reaction to some of the comments to Secretary Mayorkas's statements to the committee? There was a lot of critique, some calling him Benedict Arnold.
Well, if emotions are high because Secretary Mayorkas, to be fair, last year testified in front of the Homeland Security Committee in the House, and he said the border was secure, and he said that with a straight face. And then shortly thereafter, he was heard on a hot mic saying it was chaos. So that's very inconsistent. So what we really need to have the American people understand, Adrienne, and again, thanks for having me on because this is very important. This is a very important topic, that the Border Patrol has told us that they can only effectively manage about 3,500 illegal border crossings in a calendar day. That stretches their resources to the max. We're seeing 9,000 on average illegal border crossings a day, which means 50 and 100-mile stretches of the border are left unmanned. And the cartels are making about $4,000 a head on illegal border crossers because they charge them for the privilege of crossing the entire country of Mexico. So when you see that and do the math, that's about $1 billion a month the cartels are making just from human smuggling. But they're clever and they'll flood a certain sector. And then when they know that 50 or 100 miles is unmanned, that's where the illegal narcotics come in. So it's a very dangerous situation and it must be addressed.
A lot of people are very emotional about this topic, and there are lots of people in our country who say, listen, we need to have compassion. Just like refugees fleeing Ukraine are going into Poland, people who are fleeing the middle of the center of Mexico, perhaps Central American countries, and trying to get to safety here in the U.S. should be treated in a similar fashion. But maybe give people watching at home some type of insights as to why the Dallas-Fort Worth area would be concerned about the number of migrants crossing illegally.
Well, this is a very moral nation, and we do have an asylum process. And the Wait Mexico policy, when you cross Mexico and you're taking that journey, it's a very dangerous and perilous one. We don't want people to take it. We want people to come in here legally. 72% of the people that are crossing the border right now are not even from Mexico. So if they have an asylum claim, let's say they're from Venezuela, they've reached asylum by leaving Venezuela, and now they're 6 or 7 countries away from their home country. So these are mostly, let's be honest, economic migrants and not political asylum seekers. It's the people are all pretty much claiming political asylum because that's the one way you could enter the country. That's why the migrant protection protocols worked, because you had to wait in Mexico then. If people come legally, they don't have to go through the cartels. And 30%, Adrienne, of the people that are women that travel from southern Mexico and Central America into and onto the border of the United States are raped or sexually assaulted along the journey. So to be moral, it's immoral and to have an open border, both for the folks that live north of it and south of it. And in Texas all across Texas and quite frankly, the country, we don't have the resources to take in 4 or 5 million people in a calendar year. That's why we need this process to be controlled.
Congressman Fallon, a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Adrienne. God bless.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.